In a startling turn of events, Mecca, the heart of Islam's sacred sites in Saudi Arabia, was recently hit by severe weather. This unexpected storm, bringing extreme storms and heavy rainfall, has caused widespread disruption, affecting not only the residents but also the many pilgrims visiting this holy city. Our video today aims to delve deeper into the events that transpired in Mecca and how this extraordinary weather phenomenon impacted everyone present. The city of Mecca, a place of great significance to Muslims around the world, faced an unprecedented natural challenge with the onset of intense storms accompanied by heavy rain. This unusual weather created numerous difficulties for those in the city, particularly impacting the activities of pilgrims. Online videos captured striking scenes of individuals circling the Kaaba, a revered black cube towards which Muslims pray, struggling amid the torrential rain. The conditions were so severe that many were seen slipping and trying to maintain their composure in the downpour. Adding to the chaos, a dramatic incident was caught on camera where lightning struck a well-known hotel in the area, dramatically lighting up the sky. The ferocity of the storm was further evidenced by the wind speeds, which reached over 80 kilometers per hour, equivalent to about 50 miles per hour. In a specific area known as Alakia, the situation was even more dire, with rainfall measuring approximately 45 millimeters, nearly 2 inches, in just a single day. This led to flooding in several parts of Mecca, causing disruptions in transportation and forcing people to seek shelter. The severity of this storm brought back memories of a similar event in 2015, when a devastating storm caused a crane to collapse at the Grand Mosque, resulting in numerous injuries. Fortunately, in this recent occurrence, there were no reports of serious injuries or accidents, a relief to all concerned. However, the aftermath of the storm left the city's inhabitants and visitors apprehensive, with weather forecasts predicting the possibility of more rain, wind, and thunderstorms in western Saudi Arabia. As a precaution, the regional government made the decision to close some schools, prioritizing the safety of the community. The first-hand accounts of those caught in the storm paint a vivid picture of the turmoil it caused. Abu Mayada shared his harrowing experience of suddenly losing control of his car as darkness engulfed the area, leaving him confused and frightened. Muhammad, another witness, described the terrifying scenes around the Grand Mosque during the storm. Yusuf, reflecting on his experience, noted that while Mecca is no stranger to strong winds, especially in August, the intensity and destructiveness of this particular storm were unlike anything he had ever witnessed. This recent meteorological event in Mecca has drawn comparisons to the biblical story of Noah's flood, stirring contemplation and debate about the nature of divine judgment and warnings. The story of Noah in the Bible is a significant narrative that describes how Noah, forewarned by God of an impending flood meant to cleanse the earth of sin, built an ark to save his family and pairs of every animal species. When the floodwaters finally began to recede, Noah sent out a dove, which returned with an olive leaf, signaling that it was safe to leave the ark. This part of the story is often seen as a symbol of hope and renewal following a period of destruction and despair. The flood during Noah's time is interpreted in various religious traditions as a response to the widespread moral corruption and sinfulness of humanity. In the Bible, the flood is portrayed not just as a natural disaster but as a deliberate act of divine intervention, a method of purging the earth and offering a chance for a new beginning. This narrative serves as a powerful metaphor for the concept of divine retribution and redemption, and the recent events in Mecca have reignited discussions about the relevance of such ancient stories in interpreting modern-day natural disasters. The comparison with Noah's flood raises intriguing questions about the role of faith in understanding and responding to environmental and climatic challenges in our contemporary world. The biblical account in Genesis chapter 6 verse 12 offers a revealing glimpse into a pivotal moment in history. It contrasts sharply with the earlier declaration in Genesis chapter 1 verse 31, where God, having created heaven and earth, saw all his creations as very good. This change in God's view is striking, highlighting a significant shift from the initial state of creation to a world mired in corruption. This narrative suggests that by the 10th generation from Adam, humanity had plunged into a state of profound moral decay, characterized by wickedness, evil, and violence. In this bleak landscape, only 8 individuals, 4 men and 4 women, were deemed righteous enough to be spared from the impending divine wrath. Their ability to remain untainted by the widespread sin set them apart from the rest of humankind. Genesis chapter 6 verse 6 reveals a moment of profound sorrow for God, as he regretted having created humans, whose actions deeply troubled him. Faced with such a grim reality, God decided on a radical course of action, the annihilation of all life on earth. At first glance, this might seem like an impulsive decision from a deity surprised by the extent of human sinfulness. However, a deeper reading of Genesis chapter 6 verse 5-7 provides insight into God's perspective, noting his observation of humanity's pervasive wickedness and the constant inclination of their hearts towards evil. Consequently, God resolved to erase humanity from the earth. The narrative in Genesis chapter 6 verse 11-13 further underlines the severity of the situation, leading God to instruct Noah about preserving a remnant of life. This indicates a critical point where humanity, if left unchecked, could have spiraled into self-destruction. In this context, God's intervention appears as a necessary step to halt the rampant wickedness. Moreover, Genesis chapter 6 verse 4 introduces a complex and enigmatic element to the story with the mention of three distinct groups: the sons of God, the daughters of humans, and the Nephilim. One interpretation suggests the sons of God as the descendants of Seth, worshippers of the Lord, contrasting with the lineage of Cain represented by the daughters of humans. However, a more intriguing theory posits the sons of God as celestial beings, similar to angels, as mentioned in Job chapter 1 verse 6 and 2-1. This interpretation opens the possibility of a union between celestial beings and humans, resulting in the birth of the Nephilim. The non-canonical Book of Enoch aligns with this theory, describing watchers, angels, mating with human women, producing the Nephilim, who were known for their predatory behavior and the transmission of forbidden knowledge. This narrative, while fantastical, finds echoes in Jude chapter 1 verse 6 and 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 4, which speak of fallen angels facing punishment. These biblical passages suggest a deeper layer to the story, indicating that the flood might have had purposes beyond merely cleansing human wickedness. The flood, in this expanded understanding, served to restrain not only human sin but also to bind these fallen celestial beings. New Testament writers like Peter and Paul use these historical events as moral lessons, with the punishment of humanity and fallen angels in Noah's time serving as a warning for future generations. Thus, the biblical flood narrative, enriched by these interpretations, becomes a complex tale of divine judgment, encompassing both human and celestial transgressions, serving as a lesson in morality and divine justice. The biblical narrative suggests that while God does not instantly mete out judgment, he provides cautionary tales, as illustrated in Genesis and Revelation. These accounts convey a clear message: punishment, though postponed, is inevitable. Regarding the Great Flood, two primary reasons emerge for its occurrence. The first reason is straightforward and is rooted in human sinfulness. As the Bible recounts, humanity had strayed significantly from God's commandments, leading to widespread corruption and moral decline. This deterioration was possibly exacerbated by the influence of fallen angels, adding to the severity of the situation. The second reason delves deeper, portraying the flood as a symbolic lesson. It serves as a stark reminder of the gravity with which God views human sinfulness. Though the flood was a unique event, it acts as a warning, indicating that judgment awaits those who persist in defying the Creator. The Bible emphasizes that humans, created in God's image, are expected to adhere to His laws. When these laws are broken, judgment ensues, culminating in the ultimate reckoning on the Day of Judgment, as depicted in Revelation. Moving to the concept of judgment, the Bible, particularly in Revelation chapter 20, portrays it as a decisive moment when God evaluates human actions. During Noah's time, God deemed humanity's behavior deserving of severe consequences, leading to the flood. This event serves as a precursor to the final judgment, a theme Jesus himself referenced, likening the end times to the days of Noah, a period marked by normalcy yet oblivious to impending doom. The decision to nearly eradicate humanity during Noah's time traces back to the influence of fallen angels. Their interference introduced a corrupting element into humanity, which the Bible suggests Noah and his family were free from. Noah, described as a righteous man, and his family represented a lineage untainted by this sinister influence, meriting their salvation from the flood. The narrative also touches upon Satan's continuous attempts to thwart God's plan. From the early chapters of Genesis to the massacre of infants in Bethlehem, Satan's actions aimed to prevent the birth of a messianic figure capable of defeating him. A notable strategy, as inferred from Genesis chapter 6 verse 14, was his attempt to corrupt the human race, thereby eliminating the possibility of a sinless Savior. However, God's plan prevailed. He preserved Noah and his family, ensuring the continuation of a righteous lineage. This act was a counter to Satan's schemes, maintaining the potential for human redemption. In Jesus, God manifested in human form. God demonstrated his dominion and the failure of Satan's efforts. Moreover, the flood served a dual purpose, not only to cleanse the earth of pervasive sin but also to halt the spread of corruption through human lineages. God's intention was to preserve a pure lineage through which the Savior would eventually come. The flood, then, is more than just a response to human sin. It's a strategic measure within God's larger plan of salvation. The debate over the cause of the biblical flood often centers on the controversial union of the sons of God with the daughters of men. Those who interpret the sons of God as angels argue that their mingling with humans was so fundamentally wrong that it precipitated the flood. But who exactly were these sons of God? This question has sparked varied interpretations among ancient Jewish scholars, early Christian theologians, and even New Testament authors. From an angelic perspective, historically, many held that these sons of God were indeed supernatural beings, angels. This interpretation has roots in ancient Jewish and early Christian beliefs, where these beings were seen as celestial entities, akin to those rejoicing at the creation of the earth. However, in more recent times, some have proposed alternative interpretations, suggesting that these beings might not be supernatural after all. Despite this new perspective, the traditional view strongly associates them with angels. For instance, in the book of Job, the term sons of God is used to describe angels, both those aligned with God and fallen ones like Satan. Hosea chapter 1 verse 10 also uses the term, but in the context of humans in a special relationship with God, not as rebels. In Genesis chapter 6, however, the context suggests that these beings could not have been ordinary humans since only Noah and his family were considered righteous at the time. This raises an intriguing question. Can angels form relationships with humans? It's a topic that has long been debated, with opinions divided. Looking at the biblical story of Lot in Sodom offers some insights. The men of Sodom had nefarious intentions towards the angels who came to aid Lot and his family. These angels, unlike their heavenly counterparts, acted in ways that were not ordained. The book of Jude addresses this, highlighting that these angels committed sins similar to those in Sodom, engaging in prohibited activities. Jude chapter 6 and 7 further clarify that these angels abandoned their rightful realm, pursuing a different, forbidden path. This transgression resulted in them being bound in darkness, awaiting judgment. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah serves as a cautionary tale, illustrating the consequences of immorality and deviation from God's path. In these narratives, God's displeasure with such actions is evident. However, God's approach to judgment is always tempered with mercy. The story of the flood is a prime example. While God was set on delivering justice, he also provided an avenue for salvation. Noah, a just and righteous man, was forewarned and instructed to build an ark. Those who believed and heeded the warning had an opportunity for salvation. Thus, God's mercy was evident even in his judgment. Noah's role was more than just the builder of the ark. He was a just man, a preacher of righteousness who actively advocated for righteousness. In constructing the ark, Noah wasn't merely engaging in physical labor. He was also issuing a warning and an invitation to salvation, an offer that, unfortunately, only his family accepted. This narrative serves as a reminder of God's pattern of providing warnings and means of escape from impending judgment. In Noah's time, the ark was the refuge. In contemporary theology, this symbolizes Jesus Christ, seen as the only Savior from mankind's transgressions. The gospel message, central to Christian belief, underscores this, emphasizing Christ's death, burial, and resurrection as the pathway to salvation. This faith is not a fleeting conviction but a steadfast commitment to the message of Jesus Christ. Considering these interpretations and the recent events in Mecca, what are your thoughts?
To continue your journey with us, we've handpicked 2 videos for you, our latest upload on the left and a recommended video just for you on the right. Your engagement motivates us to keep producing content that you love. We're looking forward to seeing you in our next video. Until then, take care.